What's going on, guys, and welcome back to the channel, where today I'm going to be making sure that you are wary of these 10 things you should know for Modern Warfare Beta, and soon enough for the full game. Now, I think we can all recognise that there's been a bit more hype than usual regarding the Call of Duty game. And now quickly, I'd just like to mention that if you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. And now with that being said, let's get on with the video. Starting with the best unlockable weapons, in my opinion at least, and the ideal class setups available so far. So first up, I'd start with the M4A1. Okay, this thing is a beast. With it having an average fire rate and a fairly average damage, it's not always what you're looking for. However, considering that it's unlocked immediately, and the gun overall has good accuracy and good reload speed, it's very strong. And while some people say that the AK rivals it, I have to say, the AK simply has too much recoil, and you find yourself at a big disadvantage whenever you're at medium to long range or in a hectic gunfight. And I personally like to use a weapon that I can rely on, especially considering the connection issues that come part and part with every beta you play. That brings me to the submachine guns, the notoriously poor accuracy, but always great rate of fire, and even sometimes damage, with, for example, the MP7, as shown on the screen. I strongly believe this to be one of, if not the most consistent and fun weapon to use in the beta. Granted that not all weapons are open to being unlocked yet, but this gun, with the right attachments, is a machine. Literally. Now on to the perks, and this is where it gets interesting, and possibly controversial. You may already know this, but certain perks have been changed in functionality, and most notably, which perk slots they are in. Take High Alert for instance. That has been moved to perk 2 from perk 3, and it serves the purpose of giving you an indication of when an enemy is aiming at you. I'm left to believe that this is just a balancing technique to balance perk 2 slot and rival Ghost, as Ghost has always been the most overpowered and reliable perk in the game. Onwards, the whole point of this is to tell you which perks I think are best. Now for the perk 1 slot, I advise that you either pick Overkill or Scavenger. Now with the Scavenger perk, you'll find that you will almost never run out of ammo, and it's always been quite a commonly picked perk in past Call of Duty games. However, in this game you will find that Overkill is now much more powerful than it's ever been, as whilst it still has the same concept, now in your secondary weapon you can also use 5 attachments, the same as your primary, so it's much more powerful and it's much more diverse. Now for perk 2, it'll be no surprise to a lot of you, but it has to be Ghost. And if you're not using Ghost, you have to be using the new kill chain. And while it's not actually new, it is in terms of being a perk, and that's because in the old Call of Duty games, if you had a kill with your kill streak, it would contribute to your next kill streak, and that would overall make it a very overpowered tactic. And now that they've brought it back as a perk, it's crazy. And I hate to sound like I'm complaining, but I'm actually excited about being able to use it. It was one of the many fun features in Modern Warfare 2, because it is actually good to see that they're trying to revive this old Call of Duty vibe. And I love how they've been able to use these old concepts with new ones. And that takes me to perk 3. Perk 3 is almost no debate, and I have to say Tracker is the only powerful one. That's what I'll be using anyway, because it allows you to see your enemy's footsteps. And it provides you with the returning feature of being able to see a skull icon when your teammates die. This is of course very useful if you're playing any sort of hardcore game mode. So I honestly believe this is actually a very, very powerful perk, and there's just no question about using it in the perk 3, you just have to. And obviously, there's going to be the odd one or two that are quite overpowered, and they'll get nerfed and buffed, and it'll all change when the game fully comes out. I mean, that's what a beta's for, right? And moving away from individual classes now, you'll want to make sure that you try out all the different weapons in the beta, because what do you have to lose? And you never know. You might just discover an overpowered setup. If you do, feel free to let me know in the comments. And whilst you're there, feel free to drop a like on the video as well. I would appreciate that support a lot. Now the next tip is quite obvious, but for anyone unaware, Infinity Ward have innovated once more within the multiplayer, removing the minimap, thus dividing the community in half. Those who want the minimap, and those who don't care. I for one don't really mind either way, and I like a new challenge, but the dislike stems from not being able to familiarise yourself with the map surroundings as well as you normally would. And so, the suggestion here is that you should be running both personal radars and regular UAVs. You'll benefit immensely from both of these kill streaks, and the third pick is your preference. But I suppose if you're not as confident that you'll go on a high kill streak, stick to at most a helicopter. Now quickly, just for the actual settings side of things, I personally have a 6 sensitivity for both. However, sometimes I have a 7 for horizontal. Vertical is less of a focus now that there's no more frantic jumping about. And for other options, I have always played with tactical on, and again, that's just preference. For visuals side of things, make sure that you have everything graphics wise maxed out, and I suggest you turn off motion blur. So now moving on to one of Modern Warfare's greatest features, and that's being able to customize your in-game username. This is for the players who love to have that little bit more freedom with customizations, and it helps the people who don't typically have the gamer tag they'd love to have. So simply, this addition allows you to run off of your Activision account, and you are able to change the name of your account while you're playing the game. Note that this only applies to Modern Warfare and no other CODs at the moment, and I'll be uploading a short video explaining how you can do it and what it offers. That video will be out very soon. I believe this is to support the cross-platform feature that's also going to be added. This is easily the biggest addition to Call of Duty in many years, and I like the fact that they're adding likeable features to cater to their community. Now next up is field upgrades. Now correct me if I'm wrong, but these are meant to be the replacement of specialists, I guess, and they are all unique. There are multiple. In fact, on the screen it shows 8, and they're all pretty cool. And something I did find really interesting about these is that there's actually stopping power rounds and there's dead silence, which if you didn't know, and you probably will, they were both perks in all Call of Duties. And I'm not all too sure why they actually changed this, but I mean, I don't really mind. And I find it quite interesting that actually you can use stopping power for your teammates as well. And the last field upgrade that you can unlock is the EMP drone, and it actually seems quite powerful, as when you're actually calling it in, you can see all the enemy equipment or kill streaks around the map. And not only that, it seems as though from this tutorial, this field upgrade is actually kinda lethal, especially if you was to somehow hit somebody with direct impact, as shown. And finally, one last thing that I failed to mention earlier is that when you're designing your own gun within the gunsmith, you can truly customize it to how you like it, as the customizations are through the roof. Each weapon has at least 50 attachments to choose from, and each and every attachment has their own pros and cons. For example, using a certain optic might boost your accuracy, but it might hinder your mobility. Not only can you change the performance of your weapon of choice, but you can also completely change the appearance too. And that is about it for this video. So for all of you that care about watching live streams, I'm going to be streaming regularly throughout the next couple of weeks on Twitch. Of course, this isn't set up fully yet, and I'll let you know when it is. And also I'll be putting my Twitch link in the description below. And from you, if there are any other tips that you think are worthy of compiling, as I've said, leave a comment. And also, if you happen to know anyone who's interested in this game but doesn't know too much about it, share this video with them, and know that videos will be more regularly as the beta continues. And I'll catch you guys later.